edition of the VoiceTech Summit India 2022, and I have with me a very special personality, Mr. Chetan Indar, CEO and founder at Qualify AI. Chetan, how are you liking it here? Are you enjoying the Tech Summit?
It's been a fantastic experience and enjoyed the 2 days and still some more hours to go. So I'm looking forward to a great ending to the event.
Can you tell us more about Qualify AI and what it brings to voice technology in today's world?
So Qualify is leveraging voice in the recruitment domain. In fact, we are among the only ones or maybe few who are actually doing that. And voice has been leveraged in customer care, contact center. But we saw an opportunity that it can be also used in the recruitment domain and solve the problems for the recruiters. So we've been doing that for the last 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so we've seen a great success and leveraging voice.
That is very, very inspiring. And where do you see India in the marketplace when it comes to voice technology? Is Indian market ready? I know we have a lot of solutions, but is there a demand for such solutions?
It's interesting. I mean, we started our company about 5 years ago. It took us about 2 years to educate the market. But in the last 3 years,
Right.
we've really seen the adoption significantly high. And I think a slight difference between the Indian and the rest of the world market about voice is Indians like the human touch. So Qualify has built voice or leveraging voice in the user's own voice and not a bot.
Okay.
Because people do not want to interact with the bot because it gives a feeling of an artificialness.
Right.
So I think if the voice is leveraged in a human's own personal voice,
Right.
I think that will deliver the benefits of automation and yet retain the human touch.
Okay, talking about human touch, what do you think is the future of conversational AI in the recruitment process?
It's only growing, and I'm looking at the kind of customers that we have. Some of the traditional companies like an HDFC Bank or an Axis Bank, and the new age companies like Byju's are very extensively using our products. So that is giving us a hope that the voice AI would really be adopted significantly high, and specifically in the recruitment domain, because talent is becoming a very scarce commodity. In fact, I keep saying that technology is a commodity, and talent is now the new technology.
Right.
So I think with that, the recruitment domain is showing a lot of promise, and voice within that certainly will, and we hope for.
Urvashi Singh, Director of Sales from Warloop IO. So Urvashi, how are you liking this event, and what does Warloop IO bring to this summit which others don't?
It's great. It's great. Very interactive, very insightful, I would say. I mean, in terms of the company, we sort of bring a holistic solution in terms of customer engagement and support automation. So we work across industries in terms of, say, providing them with voice automation and also chat automation in terms of handling support queries, making outbound calls, reaching out to their customers proactively, and sort of providing an overall delightful customer experience.
Delightful customer experience is what Urvashi strives for. So other than that, how does Warloop IO tackle with the Indian market? Since this is a tech summit for India, what does Warloop IO do which really challenges the Indian market?
So in India, we've seen a lot of dependency on say humans, a lot of manpower being hired across sectors in terms of, say, solving for customer support or solving for customer engagement. That is where we come into picture and sort of automate at least the L1, L2 support queries, or even the redundant engagements with customers, wherein you don't have to, say, rely completely on human agents. You can simply automate that part of your support ecosystem, and then sort of even manage scale and surge whenever that occurs. So
Definitely.
yeah, so that's across industries, I would say. I mean, specifically, we've seen this in BFSI and e-commerce, wherein a lot of human reliance is actually there in terms of handling support queries or engaging with the customers proactively.
Right. So, since you work for an AI-based company, where do you see voice technology heading in the next 10 years? Is this the threshold? Is this what voice technology can ever see, or what would be more?
So 10 years, I would say, is a very long time. The technology in voice and in fact, overall in machine learning and AI is evolving almost every second month.
Right.
So there's something new coming up every second month that, every company here at least is trying out and trying to, say, help customers with. So 10 years, I would say, I mean, you never know. I mean, you could just be talking to robots. So, yeah.
We hope not.
Yeah.
And with that, we come to an end to this summit. It's been a 2-day marathon, and I've seen you guys have been really, really working hard. How do you feel? What are your 3 key takeaways from this entire summit, and what have you learned from the summit?
So I would say the three major takeaways would be, how say voice automation is changing the entire support and engagement ecosystem overall across industry. A lot of companies are actually striving to, and similarly for Verloop also, it's something that we strive for to provide our customers a delightful experience from our side and also help them provide a delightful experience to their customers, right? So, I mean, anything that relates to automation, anything that relates to, say, providing a better customer support and experience is something that I think every company here is striving for. So, yeah, I mean, major takeaway is that. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, a lot of companies are also becoming digitally savvy. A lot of efforts are being put in to reduce human intervention as much as possible, specifically during pandemic where, there was a shortage of manpower. You actually could not rely on, say support teams anymore because there would be certain surges and number of queries and also people would be unavailable, right? So very, very digitally, progressive mindset in terms of every company that we sort of spoke to here. So yeah, these would be a couple of takeaways for us. But yeah, overall, very interactive, very insightful session to get back home with.
Mr. Gautam, who heads the NBFC vertical at Gyani AI. So, sir, how did you like the summit, and what are your experiences and key takeaways from this session?
Well, after a long time, I think we are coming out to have a physical event. Didn't know what to expect, but to our surprise, the event turned out to be really well. Very had a very interesting conversation with a lot of people. I'm sure most of it will materialize. I think we'll probably get back to you again and do a few more events. But overall, it was a very good event, very well organized. The kind of people we met were very interesting. Thank you for having us here.
Same, yeah. We are equally privileged to have you, sir. And can you tell us more about Gyani AI?
We are a conversational AI company who's voice first. We've been developing our in-house deep tech NLP NLUs. We've been doing this for past 3.5 years, and we're very happy to come out here, meet people, tell us about what we've been doing, and probably help them with their conversational AI roadmap.
That's great. Sir, could you also tell us how does Gyani AI stand out from the crowd? Like we have so many conversational AI companies out here. So how does Gyani AI stand out, and how do you think it is better than the rest?
So,
First, do you believe is it better than the rest?
so I wouldn't say it that we are the best. We do things differently is what I can say.
Okay.
There are people out there, I mean, there are other companies out here as well. They have good technology, but we have better technology.
Okay.
What we do different is in terms of our NLP and NLU. As we are a deep tech company, everything is built in-house.
Right.
So our dependency on third-party speech engines is completely off.
Okay.
That is where we come in to customize for Indian market specifically.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the magnanimous, the charismatic Mr. Gautam. I have with me a very young, dynamic industry expert, Anumitro Ghosh, ABM lead at Exotel. Anumitro, please tell me, what does Exotel bring to this voice summit which other brands and partners do not?
Yeah. So what we are bringing on, first of all, thank you very much for having me and Exotel here. We are really happy with how people are back in the event space. And to talk a bit about my company, what we are bringing on the table right now is a full stack consumer engagement platform. So it's a one-stop solution for all sorts of consumer engagement, be it through voice, through text, through video, through authentication, we are there. So companies do not need to reach out to different vendors anymore. They do not need to have different partners for different channels of communication anymore. It's all simplified right now. And it can be used through automated messages, automated calls, as well as very powerful AI chatbots and voice bots,
Right.
which makes lives easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the world of voice technology, we are currently having a lot of demand, and the market is very good for voice technology. What do you see the future for India specifically? Is India ready for voice tech?
Absolutely. I think we are already doing it. And I think there obviously is a bit of a challenge because we are still trying to adopt to the digital India part. And apart from that, India is a country where we have more than, I think, 30, 40 languages, and I think 2x or 3x more accents out there,
Right.
right? So when you're talking from a technological point of view, the bot has to be trained in those
Right.
different languages, understanding those different accents so that they can process the things better.
Right.
So I think we are at a point where we are growing rapidly, and I think soon a lot of processes which are being carried out somewhere or somewhere by humans can be replaced by bots, but that doesn't mean it takes away those jobs or those roles,
Right.
because they move into positions where actual human EQ is needed and not something very rudimentary, repetitive and
Right.
redundant.
Right.
So we are at a good space right now.
So we're at a good space right now, according to Onomitro. What I'd like to know is how did you enjoy this summit, this 2-day marathon of presentations and industry experts sharing their ideas? So what are your 3 key takeaways from this session?
To point out three might be difficult, but overall I had a really good experience, and especially it's been 2 years. I think after a gap of 2, 3 years, I'm wearing a full suit and not like suit, shirt, tie, and half pants.
Half pants.
So that's definitely one big takeaway. The second is the enthusiasm of the people.
Right.
How people are coming up, talking to us, we are talking to them, understanding challenges, and we are seeing with the technology stack that we have in place how well we can solve it for them.
Right.
And most importantly, I think the sessions, they are very insightful. We are understanding so many things. We are interacting with all the companies out there. And also with our session, I think a lot of people shown interest in kind of having a space of coexistence,
Right.
where we are extending a hand of partnership to a few companies who can help us build certain things.
Right.
And I think that is where the world is headed towards,
Wow.
a space of coexistence and co-creation.
Mr. Abhimanyu Singh, representing Yellow AI, the Associate Director of Products Voice. So, Abhimanyu, please tell us what are your takeaways from this session? How did you enjoy this session? And what more could you add to this session?
I think one of the key things that I actually noticed about how the session, how the whole summit was structured, right? I think the verticals on which a lot of these panel discussions happened were really exhaustive. I think how voice AI makes sense in the health vertical is very, very different to what it will make sense in the retail vertical or in the contact center space, right? So I think given that we were able to segregate and have very dedicated discussions around these verticals, I think that made a lot of sense and very insightful. Like I have a whole list of things that I need to go back and look into.
So, very nicely answered. So, the next question we'd like to ask you is what is Yellow AI's role in voice tech? Does it influence the future? How is it different from the other conversational AI platforms present?
See, yeah, I think the space that we are in, right, it's called the conversational AI space. But I think if you go to our site, right, or if you talk to any of our sales guys, we sell our product as a total experience automation, right? Because we're not here to sell chatbots or voice bots. We're basically here to fix problems with our customer engagements, right? With businesses with their customer engagements. So we want to ensure that every business that signs up with us is able to ensure the best in-class customer engagement experience there is. Right? And for that, I think it's not just about ensuring that the voice bot works perfectly or the chat bot works perfectly. It's also about ensuring that whatever ecosystem the business is in already, right, we're able to go and sit in that ecosystem in a seamless fashion. So onboarding and that transition that needs to happen for a legacy business to an AI-based solution, right, it's very seamless.
Seamless transition is what he talks about. But I'd like to add a very weird question, a very silly question. So I think I mentioned this to him before. So Abhimanyu, why Yellow AI? Is there a history to it, or do you have a story related to why Yellow AI is called Yellow AI?
Yeah, so I think this was one of the questions that even I asked the founders for the company, right? So I think it all started out with the origin of the company. So when we started out, we were called Yellow Messenger. The idea was that it was a replacement for the yellow pages that you have in US, right? So it was a way for a end user to reach out to a business in an automated, in a non obviously paper like fashion, right? So then yellow pages became Yellow Messengers, and then the Yellow Messenger effectively became Yellow AI. So that's how the name sort of came into play.
Nitin Somalaraju, Conversational AI and Product Manager at Tech Mahindra. And we're at the second edition of VoiceTech Summit India 2022, where he has shared, along with his company, a mammoth of ideas. So Nitin, how are you enjoying this conference and what are your three key takeaways from it?
Sure. It has been a great experience. Fortunately, this is not the first time that I have been a part of this event. I've been previously engaged with the Middle East Voice Tech Summit too, and both of them have been great events. And one of the primary reasons, there is so much success in these kind of events is the kind of bridging of the gap which happens between organizations, solution providers, and key market players, who expect these solutions to come in, right? It's a very great venue to be able to share views, listen to what others are expecting. Unfortunately, we actually live in an era where the customers expect everything to be understood, right? What they want, what they need. And similarly, in this particular space, it's a great way to be able to interact and understand what do solution providers want to be able to engage with their customers with, as well as what are these companies or organizations expecting from the solution providers, right? So I think it's a great way to collaborate and share some thoughtful perspectives, and also be able to collaborate with great strategic partnerships. So you see people operating in the similar domain. They might not be always competitors, they might be enhancers to your entire value proposition as well. So it's a great place to be able to collaborate and make these strategic partnerships too, which I'm doing today as well. So I think it's a great place to be in. Yep.
That is fantastic, Nitin. What I'd like to know from you is Tech Mahindra is a big giant. And so how do you see yourself, how do you compare yourself to the other partners in this summit? And how exactly, are they a competition to you, or just as you said, they will enhance your productivity?
Absolutely. So Tech Mahindra is one of the biggest service providers, and that puts us in a very unique spot of being able to interact with hundreds of clients from various verticals, right? And when you look at conversational AI players, although we do develop some solutions within Tech Mahindra, I don't believe it's essentially a competition, right? Because there's always enough pie for everyone on the table, and it's more like we try to strategically think which particular use case or which particular opportunity might be well done by one of the other players, and we try to engage in partnerships with them. At the same time, when we see that there could be some value proposition we could get from in-house solution providers, right? We try to dwell into those platforms too. So it's always a win-win solution, and good collaborations can actually enhance the kind of value that we provide to our customers too. It's not always that you need to bag in the opportunity for yourself. It's ultimately the value that you'll be providing for your customers, and these strategic partnerships, they make sure that that job is done, right?
Thank you so much, Nitin. That was very well articulated. My question for you would be conversational AI. You are the product manager at Conversational AI. So is this the future? Are we seeing the maximum the future of conversational AI? And if not, what is the future for conversational AI?
Definitely. So, when we look at, any of these or any of the organizations in any particular space, right, the ultimate objective of these organizations is to be able to provide value to the customers. That could be through service, that could be through various products. And we have come to a space where, or come to an age where, all these companies, they are similar in the kind of technology that they provide, the kind of services, product portfolios that they have. And the unique advantage that any of these organizations can have is how well they have understood their customers. And when you look at conversations, right, anything and everything is a conversation. It's not just what happens between a customer care agent and say a customer or a client, right? Website content, any documents that you'll be looking at, all are a way of a conversation, right? And being able to derive intelligent insights from it puts you in a very unique spot with a very unique advantage that you can have in trying to understand your customers and as well as enhance their customer experience, right? And not just restricted to customers, you also can be looking at using conversational AI to reduce the turnaround time for some of the manual tasks that employees do on a day in day out, especially in HR IT profiles, right? So it's not just customer experience that you're enhancing, but also employee experience, and conversational AI is going to play a very big part in it. I would say that right now we are still emerging, it's still evolving, it's not yet in a place where we can say that we have achieved it all, right? It's still, we are trying to figure out a lot of different problem statements in various verticals. We are trying to figure out what solution fits best. So I think we are not there yet, but all the companies that are there over here and out there in the world, right, we are working towards it. We are working towards enhancing this particular space and be able to get that actual value proposition that we set out to do, right?
Mr. Uttaman Bhakti Krishnan, Executive Vice President at ClearTouch. So we have a very interesting question to you. How did you like our summit, and what are your three key takeaways from this?
Oh, we have been loving it today. It was an excellent day. We met a lot of good prospects, and some of our old customers were here to say hi, and yeah, so it was good to catch up. Probably after 2 years, we haven't met them during the pandemic, so it was nice to meet everyone in person. So the big three takeaways, I would say, who we are meeting, people are more decisive now, saying yes or no. Right. There are a couple of prospects said no, which is good because then we know what to do next. So there are a lot of good prospects coming and saying, exploring, and based on the keynote speech, some most of the other prospects are coming and then meeting with us. So it's been really great. So we're looking forward to the second day tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, that's excited. We are equally excited to meet Mr. Bhattachrishnan.
Uttaman.
Mr. Uttaman again.
Yeah.
So, sir, how does ClearTouch stand out from the rest of the crowd?
ClearTouch, we believe in building our own technology stack. So right from all the modules what we have, even the speech analytics, the screen recording, the natural language complaints, everything we are building on our own. So that way, that gives us a lot of leverage, what we can do, how we can put give the best experience for our end customers. That's what they love about it, and that's exactly what we want to do. Keep doing it.
Delivering end-to-end experience for customers is what ClearTouch aims for. Yep. So, sir, can you tell us why is it called ClearTouch? So, are you touching the lives of every consumer that you are touching?
Yes. So, in other part of the world, in US, we are known as TCM. So that's what it is. So when we came to India, we had to create a different entity because the TRI regulations and we had to do with a lot of different things that we had to comply with. So we had to look for a different name, and so that's what we came up with. So yeah, so ClearTouch, nothing specific, but yeah, ClearTouch. We thought it's we are making it very greatly. Yeah.
So what do you think is the future of VoiceTech in 2022? So in these times where we already have a lot of solutions, what will be the future, the next level for voice technology?
Well, voice technology has grown up a lot, and then during this pandemic, people have realized one thing. We are working from home or office. It does not matter. Right. Things move, right? So the greatest success happened because of the voice technology. Because one of our customers, one of the top banks, private banks in India, many of their end customers didn't even know this bank employees are working from home. That's how the technology was. That's how we were able to deliver them what they were looking for. So it's playing a really key role.
Pooja Makhija, phone on communications.
Thank you so much.
Before I start, let me say that UConn Media Concepts are extremely delighted to have a person like you here who's really cheering up the aura of all the delegates and participants. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell us more about Phone On Communications and what is your role there?
Well, I'm the co-founder for Phone On Communications. We are into automation of interactions. Basically, we have one of the best digital contact center solutions, one-stop shop for anything where you require automation of interactions. That could be inbound, outbound, you name it. You want to automate from the voice part, visual IVR. We put it all straight in a simple, in one of the most simplest manner. It just comes in out as a flow. We have a no coding platform. We work majorly in BFSI and airline sector. So let me put it in this way: 7 out of 10 calls, if comes from an airline, it's possibly from us, from my system.
Wow, that is really, really impressive.
Yeah.
I've heard, Pooja, that you are based out of Baroda.
Yes. Yes.
So how did that happen, and I'm pretty sure there are very few tech companies itself in Baroda.
Yes.
So what motivated you, and how did you start this?
Well, Vadodara, we started off about more than a decade ago, and I don't know if you know, but it's very strategically located. Plus, one of the best hubs for education. There are amazing engineers, one of the best talents that you can get there. And though there are a lot of service companies now, but there's still very few product. And I think that was in the heart of it. And my husband, who's also Ujjwal Makhija, who actually started the company, he always wanted to generate the right kind of employment and opportunity and not have the talent drainage. See, in Baroda, you play tennis in the morning, play golf, and you come to work. So there's that work-life balance.
Wow, that is beautiful.
And I think that worked out very well for us, because the talent is just so amazing. It's an amazing team, so dedicated to customer experience, so dedicated to, very proud of what they're doing. So it worked out very well. It's working out very well.
Yeah, with a co-founder like you, I'm pretty sure the team is already very happy and they play golf together to maintain all the stress. So, what do you think? You mentioned that you work for the airline industry majorly.
We
is
work
that correct?
Yes. So so 4 out of 5 private airlines, we work with them.
Okay.
So if you are getting a message, an ROPS message or any of these things that's coming from my system, we work in BFSI sector, a lot in BFSI sector. So about almost 60% of private insurance, banking, financial sector, that's where our forte. So yeah, we kind of have niche in these 2 sectors primarily right now. Data centric, toughest, but that's the fun of it. No? Yeah.
So where do you see voice technology in your company? Like, how important is voice technology in your company, and what is the future of voice technology would you like to see?
Well, voice is part of automation solutioning. So what we are doing, we're trying to work out is we are getting machines to become human type, and we are expecting that. But automation is a journey, and that's, I think, the ethos of the organization also. The solutioning is the heart of it. So while we start with the basic automation, in the end, you do want to hear,
Right.
and you do want to hear something which is more human-like. And you also have to understand there is a lot of repetitive information. There's a lot of non-pleasant conversation where if a human is sitting on the other side of it, it is not
traumatizing.
Is it traumatizing? And well, a voice bot really does not have, does not have mood change. You do not have to train that over and over again.
Right.
So wherever there is repetitive information, wherever there is something which can be handled at a level where just information needs to be sent out and given out, I think that is where voice can be worked out, and that's actually about 40% straight of your call center queries.
Perfect.
So that just works out pretty well. And then, of course, how you really use it intelligently is the next couple of things. Yeah, next step of it, and that goes to about 50-60%. So the way the industry is maturing, I feel we are not far away that if you use this technology in the right manner, we will have warm bodies doing more sales and revenue generation and actually taking feedback which is constructive and correct for the organization and
Right.
things like that. So, a lot of people ask, and this keeps on coming, will it degenerate employment? No, it will just take it to another maneuvering of people using their skill for better things which they are good at. So yeah, let's make money.
So we're not removing employment, but we're just directioning it in a separate way where people use technology in the best way possible. The last question for you, Pooja, would be: how did you like the Tech Summit, and what were your three key takeaways from this?
I have been part of few conferences and summits, and I have to give it to this team. This is one of the most interactive teams. The crowd which has got pulled in, it was never too many people coming, but the interactions were actually, they were superb. They were quality. We met familiar faces. We met people who were really interested in the business. It really shows that what kind of planning has gone behind it. See, pulling people is one aspect of it, but pulling the right kind of people. So I met people from banking, and in banking, there were people actually from the bot side, from the automation side, who were present here and who were talking about this opportunity. So I would say great crowd, meaningful crowd. It's very encouraging for people who are there because we can have those conversations. I've had a more busy day, and the team is wonderful. We had one or two hiccups in the morning, and the way everybody operated, especially like we came out from Baroda, and we were there early morning, and there were few hiccups, but those hiccups, I think it just was more than well taken care of through the day, just done, dusted. I think a wonderful, wonderful team.
Oh,
Anna?
thank you so much, Pooja. She's incredibly sweet and she's been lying throughout.
No,
We
no,
have
not
really
at all.
tortured her.
No, not at all. No. See, uh, like we say, there can be issues, there can be problems. It's how you handle it.
Definitely.
And how you turn it around is what makes the difference.
Definitely.
So I think kudos to this team. We are coming back for sure.
Mr. Abdullah Salim, the Group CIO at Omni Hospitals. Sir represents the healthcare sector and is here at the VoiceTech Summit to talk about the voice technology in the healthcare sector. So, what were your key takeaways from this session?
The first one is all the technology company who have come here, they are adding a lot of values to the industry. The second thing is that the healthcare is going to adopt the technology much faster than any other industry. And the third one is the awesome hospitality by the Eco Media.
I see. So it's a very important question since we are all suffering from COVID for the past so many years. So has COVID-19 and all the variants of it affected voice technology in the healthcare domain in any way?
Obviously, it has, and it has. That's what I said, that it is pushed the industry to adopt the technology because it is a patient demand, it is a doctor demand, and then when the patient and doctors and point of care demands the technology, then there is no other way to avoid it, and that's the reason that healthcare industry is adopting the technology on a large scale.
Definitely, beautifully answered by Sir. Sir was mentioning that you have come across and a lot of companies talking about conversational AI, voice technology, the future of AI. Which company, according to you, stands out from the rest, and why do you think they do?
Every company is right in the right track, but I would like to take the name of last presentation done by Mr. Gautam, and that is called Gani.ai. So they are a bit of ahead from other industry partners, technology partners, and I hope that they are going to add a lot of value to the industry.
Thank you so much, sir. And is there anything you would like to see in the healthcare industry when it comes to voice tech? What is the future of voice tech in the healthcare sector?
In the future, it is not a voice tech, it is the IoT. The IoT means Internet of Thing, and speech recognition / voice technology, AI, predictive analytics, all these are the part of the IoT, and IoT will be the bread and butter for the healthcare to ensure that quality healthcare is being delivered within the individual range, and clinical error, the control on the clinical errors is going to be drastically, it is going to be impact. For your for your kind information, 50 million people are dying due to the clinical errors. And when this technology is going to adopt it, definitely it is going to help the industry to avoid those clinical errors which happen unknowingly.
Beautifully answered by Sir. Clinical errors killing 50 million people per year, which can be easily avoided by technology. IoT and voice AI is the future. Mr. Anuj Gupta, Chief Strategy Officer at ICCS. Sir is a realist. He asks questions and gives solutions to answers which matter most. So we'll ask him a very important question. What vision does ICCS have in the emergence of tech in BPO?
So we think that technology is going to play a very vital role in the BPO industry. The evolution of technology has just started happening because today every customer has started talking about that how the operation excellence needs to be built in the system. And when we talk of building operational excellence in the system, technology is going to play a vital role. With the reach of technology, with technology, the reach to these tier 2 and tier 3 towns will become very effective. And we have already started working on the QMS, LMS and the RMS. An entire journey for the customer and our people will be digital going ahead. So any customer who actually even wants from a hiring perspective, he wants to select a candidate, there will be a pool of candidates qualifying as per the criteria what he wants will be available on the our RMS, and he can just go and choose people out of that. So we are automating everything because that is going to build efficiencies into the system. That is also help us in creating better excellence into the system, and we think that this is the way forward.
Thank you so much for that answer. Sir, the next question for you would be, what are the hiring plans for ICCS in the future?
So we are today a 6,000 plus people group. We have 12 delivery centers across the country. But going ahead, I think that for our next 3-year plan is that we need to be close to about 20,000 people. So we are looking at almost a 300% growth in number of people. In terms of delivery centers also, we are looking at moving from about 12 to about 18 to 20 delivery centers, because in India, diversity is so huge that you have to be at different locations. But we think that this market of BPO, which today is at a growth rate of about 6%, we are very sure that this market is going to increase because the new sectors which are coming up, healthcare, education, e-commerce, retail, distribution, these are where the BPO's presence was not there, but now this presence of BPOs are going to be immense in that. A small thing where most of these companies which they suffered during the COVID was that they had this distribution network, they had a distributor, they had a stockist and they had a retailer, but everything got shut.
Right.
People couldn't move out onto the roads, and they realized that actually they were having goods in their warehouses where they didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
But then these thoughts started happening, and people realized that if we take it to the BPOs, that BPOs can actually become our distributors and stockists and be in touch with the retailers. One, in terms of product ordering. Secondly, in terms of whatever offers we are trying to generate, it can be there, and we can also have the voice of the retailer, because retailer is the front end for the customer for any company.
Right.
And that voice can only be captured by a BPO, not through the sales
Right.
staff. So that is where the changes have started happening in all this industry. So we think that BPOs are going to grow big time. Whatever the growth factors are today, these factors are going to grow enormously in the next 3 to 5 years.
BPOs are going to grow exponentially in the next 3 to 5 years. But a very interesting question lies that with the advancement of voice technology, with voice and conversational AI taking over the market in the coming years in the future, does that pose a threat to the BPO industry?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. That you see what the thing, the change which is now happening in the market is that all organizations have started talking about retention of their customers. They are not looking at acquiring new customers. They are saying that whatever customer base we have, let's try to hold them. Let's try to upsell and cross sell on these people. Not only the products which they have, it could be a product tomorrow you could have a bank selling a pharmaceutical product, could be a lab test, because they have the customer base and they know that these guys, an insurance company may be selling lab tests because they know that these people took such claims from us in the past and they have the medical history of those people.
Right.
So based on that medical history, even the pharmaceutical companies could be actually be gaining out of it. So this growth is going to happen where people will realize that the potential to go through the BPO is higher. One, in terms of cost, the costs are lower. Secondly, the transparency is very high when you go through the BPO. Third, you have a very controlled environment to ensure that whatever you want to say actually gets communicated to the end customer.
Nice. Very beautifully put in with a very intuitive thought. So, sir, how did you like this summit and this tech conference, and what are your three key takeaways from it? Did you enjoy meeting the partners, or do you have any complaints?
No, no, absolutely no complaints. Beautiful summit, and absolutely we loved it. And we met old friends after 2 years because of the COVID, everything. We just actually were not moving on. So it was actually a big opportunity to meet old friends after such a long period. We also made new friends, new partners. We talked to a lot of people. And I think that you watched the Voice Tech Summit is doing a beautiful job, and they should be doing more conferences like that. But only one thing which I was just talking with Jamal and others, and I was telling that you should look at getting the MSME involved into this tech summit, because MSME is the biggest market which is going to be there, and it is going to flourish because it had a bad time to be COVID, but any market which goes down has to go up. That is the principle of life or any economics. So anything which has gone down, so now we think that the MSME curve will start going up, it will hit the troughs. So you guys should also target MSMEs very strongly, not only look at the big players from an AI perspective or from the BPO perspective, you should also target MSME. And today they are ready to spend on technology because they think this technology can help them to manage their costs and also create operation excellence.
Dr. Jaideep Rayapudi, subject matter expert at Healthcare AI, who is here to talk about voice technology in the healthcare sector. So, sir, how does voice technology affect healthcare? So, how do we join the dots?
Great. So, thank you, Faiza. I mean, great introduction, great conference. If you're not here, you're really missing something. And so, sometimes you wonder, how does voice tech come into healthcare, right? And voice is something as common as like what we are doing, and
Definitely.
that's how the interaction between a doctor and a patient happens.
Right.
But you would realize that it's about 2 years since we are actually meeting somebody in person. Until now, we had this interface, which was a screen, and when the social distancing,
Right.
and then we had everything going into telemedicine, everything going into Zoom calls, and then this whole technology of using voice as a user interface, a VUI rather than a GUI, which we are usually used to, that is going to come up. So one way of using all our healthcare apps, all our healthcare facilities, all that in the coming days will definitely find great application moving into the VUI. Simple example would be somebody just saying, hey Siri or Alexa, what's the medication for me today? Or what should I eat today? Or to the other extent that you have a doctor who's performing a surgery, usually they take about 15-20 minutes, a major part of their time for every surgery to write down their operation notes. Now all that they need to do is to dictate it, and just as they finish the surgery, they just have to get the print command and they have something ready for them. At the same time, these are all basic levels. Voice actually can help patients to maintain good health. So the way I speak, the energy that I show in my speech, voice technology can actually detect and say, hey, you're not doing well, maybe you're feeling weak, did you take your medicines today, did you eat food today?
Wow.
So voice technology is able to do that at one level. Then there are great use cases in dementia, for example.
Okay.
Mental health, there are use cases where just by detecting the tone and certain words that a person is using in a telephone conversation, even with friends, suicides have been prevented,
Okay.
even though humanly we might not be aware of that.
Right.
So there's a huge use case in terms of mental health, in terms of detecting people with memory loss, earlier detection of Alzheimer's disease, earlier detection of Parkinson's disease. These are some of the use cases for the use of voice technology in healthcare.
That is incredibly informative and useful. Sentiment analysis in conversational AI playing a huge role in saving lives. Sir, what do you think is the future of voice technology in the healthcare industry?
Right now, when we use technology, we are using our fingers, and in the coming days, we will not use our fingers. We will just talk. We'll talk to the machine, and it will become very common. I mean, if you see 100 years ago, electricity was an amazing thing, or 20 years ago, internet was something amazing,
Right.
and now we are just used to it. So at some point in the next 5 or 10 years, I'm not even going to say another 2 decades, in the next 5 or 10 years, voice technology will be something absolutely common. We'll all be very used to it, and we will never remember when we had these kind of ancient talks.
So enabling future is what Sir does. Sir, how did you like this summit and what are your 3 key takeaways from it?
I think the summits like these are a breeding ground for great new ideas and a confluence of people. I mean, if you see here, there are hundreds of people coming from different technologies, different languages, different zones, and all of them, when we are able to meet, we are able to bring together that synergy and energy to take technologies forward to make our lives better. And that is one of the key takeaway, is that we really need to connect, we really need to network, and we really need to use each other's strengths to take
Better
all of us forward.
ourselves,
Yes.
right? So, sir, here is the subject matter expert at healthcare AI. So, sir, could you please tell us more about what healthcare AI does?
So yeah, so the company that I represent is called iMerit Technologies, and we work in all types of AI in terms of data solutions, end-to-end data annotation solutions, and I head the India Healthcare AI, and we have a large team in US. And one of the things that we do in healthcare AI is to enable the machine learning. So the machine has to learn. It has to learn from data, and we make the data learnable. I'm using very simple words. Learnable for the for the AI algorithms to function.
Very happy to have with us once again Mr. Uthaman Bhakti Krishnan, Vice President at ClearTouch. Sir, we have very specific questions to ask from you now that you're an industry head in voice technology.
Yep.
So we would like to know, how do you empower Indian businesses to transform on-premise contact centers to cloud-based operations?
Well, like it used to be a big challenge earlier, but then when pandemic hit, like the whole scenario has changed. Where so our cloud is not a question of do you want it anymore?
Yeah.
It is a must, because people are working from home and agents nobody is in the office, but the business continues.
Right.
So, for example, one of the top India bank, they came to us after the shutdown started in early 2020. So we had to take all of their agents, work from home, enable them from office to home. Within 48 hours, we were able to do it, and none of us ever met right? So it all happened from the remote.
Right.
So like, so when you have the right technology and tool and you know how to use it the right way, like, it's very easy to do. But yeah, so it takes a lot of experience to come up with that kind of solution.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Making cloud a necessity and not a luxury is Mr. Uttaman's words. The next question to you would be, how do you see the shift in the adoption of cloud-based contact center platforms?
Shift is like multi-folded right now compared to like 2 years back before the pandemic. Right now we see a lot of traction and also a need for like to go with a solid plan, right? So earlier there were like a lot of chances. You had time, you can try out few things here and there, you can do a homegrown solution, but it is like there's no time now, right? Everything is going on real time and you have to support your customers and the business continues as usual, so you can take chances. So this is where exactly the experience and the powerful team who can deliver, who have delivered this for years, for 2 decades, right? So we are in the business for 22 years. So when we come and give this, so we know exactly, we have seen a lot of these things earlier. So it is nothing new in what we are doing right now, because when we launched 22 years back, we launched on cloud, but that time the name was not cloud. It was called software as a service, SaaS.
Right.
Right. So whatever it is, right now it's called CSaaS, so, but then the thing remains the same,
Definitely.
so yeah.
So, would you elaborate on the recently launched voice analytics platform and how it powers agent performance and improves the efficiency of contact center operations?
Yes, sure. That's a good question. So voice analytics is is a great tool enabling agents' performance multifold if you use it in the right way. So for example, when you are able to analyze the issue, what they are facing, this is what exactly what I was talking about yesterday, 2% versus the the 98% of the data, where there are a lot of issues that have been already discussed. Your customers' conversation is going to give you throw the light on all the issues that they are facing. So this is a gold mine for any companies to look into and understand what is that they are talking, how your agents are performing, right? For example, it happened to me when I was trying to get a mobile phone switched from one provider to the other. Some person is telling after 2 months your mobile phone is going to be unlocked, so I can use it on my international travel. But then the other agent on the store, he says no, it's not possible. So there is if you can avoid all these things, using a right voice analytics, can throw a spotlight on this kind of issues, and it can raise flag where companies can look into this kind of issues and train the agents in the right way and reach out to the customer who are already dissatisfied with so giving that kind of a proactive approach is possible if you use the voice analytics in the right way. Yeah.
Proactive approach is what he stands for. The next question I'd like to ask you, which is the last question, how are you addressing your customers' pain points? And could you share some examples?
Sure. Yeah. So the customer pain points are are come in all forms and shapes and different scenarios. One of the example I would highlight here, one of our top financial customer based in Chennai, big group. So their problem was they have a lot of agents who are trying to close their loans and offer different products, but then they are not able to increase their efficiency, number one. Number two, they are still see a lot of outstanding loan which is not collected. But then they the chairman, when they gave this problem statement, so they are not how to figure out a solution. So we said we for example using a voice analytics and other tools, so we are able to pinpoint where are the issues, and then we came up with a solution where we came up with a performance chart for the agent. So we are able to identify the top 5 performers and then the bottom 5 performers for the agent wise on a daily basis. We put it in a dashboard. We put a big TV on in their work area, in their hall, and then everywhere it's getting displayed. So as soon as we did this, the agent started realizing, oh, my name should never ever come in the bottom 5 because chairman, everybody is looking, so I have to be in the top. So the efficiency increase multifold, and then so their loan, outstanding loan, everything is started working fine. Because why I'm saying this example is it might find silly or funny, but then using the technology and the tool in a right way is the key. for finding a right solution,
Definitely.
right? That comes with experience and that comes with a lot of knowledge, right? Otherwise, the solution can be simple. In my opinion, the solution should look simple, should not even intimidate the customer, but the end result should, right? That's all matters.
That's all that matters. The end result matters, and with that, I'd like to know that how are you enjoying the second day of the Tech Summit? How is it? What did you learn, and what could you give? And is VoiceTech the place to be?
Absolutely. So we are so excited. Even in the second day, we see a lot of traction, a lot of good people we are able to meet. Like a lot of good financial banks and customers and some BPOs who are walking in, and we are able to connect. Some of them we have been talking over years over the phone and Google Meet, but today we met them in person. So that's very nice to very good, very good feel. So. It's going great, and we have half a day more left. I'm sure we are excited to see some more prospects and and help in whatever the way. In fact, we found few options where we could do a potential partnership also.
Wow.
So yeah, so they came and approached us. So it's going really great.
Mr. Nitin Varke, Vice President, Strategic Project Management and Organizational Excellence at Blue Dart. So, sir, can you tell us more about your role at Blue Dart and how does it help you at a tech conference like this, and how did you like the conference today?
So let me start with the conference firstly. I think excellent organization, and I must commend you for your energy that you've brought through the day.
Thank you so much.
So I think it's great, and there is a lot of insights, a lot of exploratory ideas that have come out of the summit today. So many tech minds in the room. As far as our organization is concerned, we are into logistics, and we are the #1 logistics provider in India.
Definitely.
So logistics is everywhere, right? And our motto, our philosophy is excellence simply delivered. We connect people and improve lives, right? So it's not just the shipment that we are delivering, it is actually people's expectations and an experience that we deliver to people. Augmented reality, artificial intelligence, voice bots, all of it I think is next gen, and it is something that most progressive organizations are looking to incorporate into their customer experience and to ensure that they are able to scale up, okay, the customer experiential aspect of the business, and that is where we are looking to move as well. The Tech Summit, with the VoiceTech Summit that we are at today, I think is a good stepping stone. A lot of ideas, a lot of innovations that I have seen here today, which would help us to take back and incorporate into our business as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And which brand and company really impressed you today? What was the one thing which really blew your mind?
So I think all of them. Let me not take one name as such, but I think all of them are special in their own way, and some of them are very unique propositions. So I think I will not take a particular name, but I think all the participants today have been excellent, and it's a true value proposition for the people who want to drive AI and technology into the organization. So, and so far it's always been people typing and things like that. Voice is your natural mode of communication. Right, and moving from an artificial mode to a natural mode of communication through an artificial intelligence bound by it, I think is where we want to go, and I think it's a great step forward.
Great. So, sir, after today's session, do you think, would you invest in voice technology in your company?
Absolutely. I think that is where all organizations would move forward. It makes the life of the customer so much easier. Today, you sit in your room, sit on the couch and say, please put on the lights, and the lights go on, right? It is that easy. So likewise, when somebody wants to send a shipment across, or when somebody wants to check what is the status of the shipment, using voice as a medium, is always the preferred mode. Today you have customer service agents at the other end of the discussion who are giving the information. I think what we have understood here, or what we are trying to explore here, is how do we scale up to ensure that there is an artificial intelligence sitting on this side which is giving a similar experience of a human that is responding to the person, and I think that is what is important for us.
Jay Prakash Vatikundala, Team Manager Analytics at Royal Enfield. Sir has been there throughout every discussion, every panel discussion, every industry presentation. Throughout the conference, he has been the most active participant. He has been the most interesting delegate that we've had at the summit. So, sir, what are your views? What have you gained from this tech conference, and how did you like it?
Yeah. So before coming here, we'll be having the technical knowledge about the AI.
Right.
So what are the various frameworks or technologies available to implement AI? But here I can see how this getting implemented and building a beautiful product out of that.
Right.
And who are the customers who are really loved and generated some beautiful insights for their business growth on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So this I loved really 3 to 4 products. Okay. So thought of thinking to explore more on that as well. So it's a very good takeaway in terms of information as well as exploration as well.
It is lovely having you, sir, and thank you for that feedback. Sir, can you tell us, since you're with Royal Enfield, what analytics and how does voice technology play a role in Royal Enfield's market, or the entire process? How does it help Royal Enfield?
Definitely, because any organization, okay, so we will be having since Royal Enfield, right, we will be having a sales team, services team, marketing team, also our roadside assistance team. I can say we are the best in providing the customer experience. Okay, so now we are utilizing the AI based technologies to digitize and to bring the AI experience to the customers. Instead of a agent receiving the call, bot can receive the call.
Right.
And get more information from the backend systems and provide and answering their queries.
Right.
At the same time, automating the schedules, a callback,
Right.
all these things.
So will you be implementing voice technology in Royal Enfield?
In fact, we started doing some
you
POCs
have?
on that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So where do you see the future of voice technology in India? Since you represent Royal Enfield, it's a very Indian brand. So where do you see, what is the future of voice technology for Royal Enfield?
So I supposed to answer this question yesterday for someone's query. I didn't get a chance, but now I'll answer. So if you take few years back, the same question happened to the computers. So how computers is going to change or bring a revolution in the day-to-day lives. But now you can see without computer nothing is there.
Definitely.
Even in a mobile you will be having a computing software.
Right.
Similarly, if you take voice, right, wherever, because I can say it saves a lot of time. A voice bot can provide more information than what we are searching in Google. Okay,
Definitely.
it does everything, but we should not, we'll be spending time to get the information, but we need it in a quick way. Okay.
Right.
So if you go and search something in the Google, you have to go through a lot of things. But instead, if you give some specific requirement to a bot, it will does everything for you and save your time and give you a summary of that.
Beautifully answered.
And this is one thing.
Right.
So the same thing can be applied for any industry. It can be hospitality or it can be education. So for example, if you don't understand some concept here, if there is a bot from any of these partners, you can take help
Directly
and
ask
it helps you and it will answer all your questions
Right.
as well.
Mr. Sanjay from Bestseller India, who is the Chief Digital Officer there. So, sir, please tell me, how does Bestseller India come to a conference like voice technology? So, how does voice technology influence Bestseller India?
So, we were talking in the hall on this VoiceTech and how it can impact the commerce industry.
Right.
Right. So we are big time into fashion retailing, and around 25% of our revenue comes from the e-commerce.
Wow.
And as of now, it is all led through the the website. It is all led through the app. But the future is going to be conversation-led commerce.
Right.
Where our clientele is going to search the product, talking to a bot.
Wow.
Let's say you want a black suit for tomorrow.
Right.
The one option is that you go on and keep on searching for black suit with different brands and all that.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are on my Veromoda site and saying that I need black suit.
Oh.
And if you get couple of good choices of the
Right.
black suit, then your purchase cycle, discovery cycle, everything is getting crunched, and in
Right.
probably 1 or 2 lines of conversation with a AI-led bot, you can
Right.
finish up the purchase.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that is the beauty of the conversation-led commerce, and that is what brings me here. How to solve the conversation problem, plus let's say you have bought something from Veromoda,
Right.
and you want to return it,
Right.
or you want to cancel the order. I mean, it can be a simple interface, cancel my order number, this. And with your voice and number, the bot is already recognizing you and then going to your cart or going to your order book and canceling the order.
Wow.
Or something you have put it in your cart and then you forgot to order. Next day, there is a reminder coming to you, there is something left out in the cart, and you say that, place the order. Those are very interesting use cases which can completely transform the business what we are doing.
Perfect. So really, really, getting me excited here with the fashion industry updates. So, sir, what are your 3 key takeaways from this session today?
Oh, there are many, but difficult to select the 3. But what is important is that how to build up this technology and platform in a way that it can engage with customer in a very meaningful way.
Right.
That's pretty much importance. Going beyond what the conversation or the smart speakers are doing now, which is more towards giving some information to the customer.
Right.
It has to go to the next step where you start building up the conversation with the bot,
Right.
and those conversation can lead to the business generation. So I
Right.
think these are a couple of important takeaways. If those are implemented, then probably we are sitting at a cusp where it will completely transform the industry.
Beautiful. So, sir, here, would you tell us what is the future of voice technology that you see in the e-commerce industry or in the fashion industry, apart from making orders online and biometric verification through voice? What else which bizarre thought comes to your mind when it comes to voice technology, which should be implemented in the future?
So if you look at top of the hand data, uh, the consumer spend through the conversation-led commerce is going to be 6x compared to what we have today in next 2 to 3 years, and that 6x is going to come on the back of basically the technology and the research which is getting into let's say the conversational-led technologies.
Right.
You said it right. As of now, more than 75% of the conversation with the conversation-led bots are happening about some info like the weather info, the traffic info, playing music. That is going to go to the next level where you are going to make purchases. Uh, there was an interesting conversation going on with one of my panelists, where he was talking about that his daughter sometimes has argument with Siri.
I think we all do that.
Yeah. That's the new generation, right? Where you are not only striking a conversation, but having some emotional conversation where you are showing your anger and probably Siri is showing her anger. So I think the future is that the meaningful conversations are going to happen with the bot, and which will lead to different avenues.
Mr. Vikas Wahi, the Senior Product Manager at Intellicus. So, would you please tell us more about Intellicus and what it brings to this conference?
Intellicus is basically a product management company. We are a data engineering and a BI platform company founded in 2004, headquartered in Indore, and we deal with multiple enterprises, resolve a lot of problems that they currently face with the data.
Right.
Post-COVID, enterprises or during the pandemic, enterprises have actually understood the importance of bringing IT enablers for ensuring that there are good growths and there are monitoring in place for a lot of data-driven tasks, and that is where Intellicus helps a lot of enterprises.
I see. So, sir, do you see that Intellicus is into warehousing, as you mean, workforce management? So, does that mean in the coming years, conversational AI is actually going to replace a majority of the workforce?
See, whether conversational AI is going to replace workforce, I would say no.
Right.
The reason is that even if you go in a conversational AI, you would still need to go ahead and predict the workloads. You would still need to go ahead and do a lot of tasks where you would be using a lot of data to understand how you would want to plan more efficiently, right? Even in a conversational AI, you would need a lot of insights to be given on the conversations that are happening through those intelligent solutions.
Right.
So from all of that perspective, Intellicus becomes one of the platforms which enterprises can adopt for getting a lot of insights, not only from a perspective of data, but also looking at how the future is going to be for them.
I see. Talking about the future, so what do you think voice technology can do in the next 10 years?
It is an evolving technology and a bit challenging for India as well, because we see a lot of vernacular languages in India. It is a diversified country. So meeting those expectations, meeting those dialect requirements is quite complex. But yes, slowly and gradually we are moving towards that direction. So adapting to bots, adapting to AI for speech is definitely one of the asks in terms of bringing in intelligent automation. But along with that, it is equally important for data analytics to be a part of it on top of that, because it is very important for you to understand the sentiments of the customer to ensure that the right customer experience is maintained and it is taken care of.
Right. So would you please tell us that you spoke about India facing a lot of challenges. So is the Indian market ready for voice technology? We have like an array of languages with different dialects and different accents. So do you think, are we ready, and can voice technology handle the accuracy?
I would say, see, largely when it comes to languages, English and Hindi predominantly covers the maximum gamut of the India. Yes, from that perspective, but when it comes to regional, that is where the challenge lies. So if there is a product that can actually take care of that, then definitely that product will be a choice for the India market.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. Can you please tell us, how did you enjoy the summit? Was it as exciting?
Summit was interesting. I would say the participants, the panelists was amazing. We got to learn a lot about the new technologies coming up. We are aware as to what the requirement of the industry is, where there are, what is the way ahead on them. And yes, it is actually enabling us to plan more efficiently and look at enhancing our offerings to our customers.
I would like you to elaborate on what exactly is Intellicus's WFM. So would you tell us more about that?
So, well, that's a very unique solution that we have for a BPO segment, specifically talking about the complete planning that happens for managing the type of workload they go ahead and take care of on a day-on-day basis. Today, BPO manages almost like trillions of data, right? And to manage that trillions of data, they've got thousands of employees taking care of it. And that's a direct cost for the BPO to manage those operations. Now, what we bring to them is an intelligent way of planning. Right? Not only a mundane activity of following all the 4 stages, which is of forecasting, which is predicting the workload, or assessing the staff count, or scheduling the staff count, but we also bring a lot of intelligence in each of these steps. In terms of forecasting, they can actually bring in a lot of external factors to understand what is the kind of growth they can look at in their business, and accordingly look at what is the kind of volume or workload they anticipate. In terms of the headcount, they can actually evaluate headcount on various parameters, such as Erlang, such as ratio basis, stat. These are all different type of methods that they can use to evaluate the headcount. Alongside, they can also bring in a solution that can tell them what are the type of employees they need, whether they need a full-time employee, they need a part-time employee, they need a split type of employees. That can help them save a lot of cost. And then also bring in intelligent way of allocating the task to them, so that the right skill set is allocated for the right task at the right time. And then they perform a lot of data analysis. So there's a lot of time that they invest in understanding the gap or any type of non-performance, and then it becomes more of a reactive measure for them. What we bring as a solution is bringing in proactiveness in that. So whatever time that they spend in terms of data analysis, they can actually look at concentrating more on actions rather than spending time on data, and that is what we bring as a solution for them.
Ms. Zulzaya Chotimbat, Partnerships Lead at What Three Words. So, Ms. Zulzaya, how was your experience at the summit, and could you tell us more about what Three Words brings to this tech summit?
Thank you so much. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. And What Three Words is a global address system designed for voice. So essentially, what we've done is we've divided the entire world into 3 by 3 meter squares and labeled each one with a unique combination of 3 words from the dictionary.
Okay.
So in the background, what's really happening is we're just translating GPS coordinates to make them more human-friendly, therefore more applicable for voice technology.
Wow, that is indeed amazing. Ms. Zulzaya, what do you think is the future of voice technology in this era, where we already have a lot of solutions? What do you think will be the future of voice technology?
That's an excellent question. I think the key to making sure voice works is to enable the human-machine interaction and make that as easy as possible. So the devices can get very, very smart, and the AI could get really smart, but if they don't understand us,
Right.
that kind of becomes useless. So this is why I think for us at What Three Words, it's a very exciting place to be, because to be able to communicate precise location more easily, human to human, but also human to machine, is a big part of what we do. We're very, very pleased to be part of this conversation.
So, Ms. Zulzaya, what do you think makes What Three Words stand out from the other conversational AI platforms? So, what is special about What Three Words, and what do you do which is not done by the other industry experts?
So What Three Words, we are trying to solve the problem of inaccurate or inexistent addresses.
Right.
And there are many companies who are trying to solve this problem, including Google Maps actually. So they have an alternative solution called Plus Codes, which is a combination of alphanumeric codes. And there are lots of variations of this. However, again, same as latitude and longitude or GPS coordinates, it's alphanumeric codes, and it doesn't really bode well with the human brain. So we think just by speaking 3-word address is actually much simpler and easier for people to communicate, remember, and use.
Mr. Suresh Sampath, Global Head at Transformation Practice Fusion Group. Sir, how are you enjoying this summit, and what are your key takeaways from this?
Oh, the summit has been fantastic. It has been a place where people who are using the products, people who are manufacturing these products, and people who are exponentially getting the benefits of these products are getting together. A lot of best practices that we could realize from this event. It's an event that has kind of opened our eyes in terms of what all different practices that other industries are implementing to get better results. It has been insightful.
Right.
Yeah.
Insightful is the word. With that, I would like to ask you, what does Fusion Group bring to the table? What does voice technology do in Fusion Group, and how does it help it?
Well, Fusion Group organization has been in this contact center industry for about 16 years now. We have our presence across the globe except for Australia. We are a 14,000 people organization serving about 250 customers.
Wow.
In about 18 different languages. So we completely understand the evolving requirements and demands of the customers and technology availability in the market as well. That kind of helps us in improving efficiency by not compromising quality and satisfaction per se.
Right.
So as an organization, being in this industry for about 16 years, we have developed an organization that is focused on building products which will help us improve in this demanding world. Right. These products that we have developed are specifically designed to solve contact center problems.
Right.
So the kind of benefits that we have seen by building these products, which were initially built keeping in mind Fusion as an organization,
Right.
we have seen the effectiveness of these products. Today, we are kind of taking these products and selling it in the market to the likes of Fusion kind of organizations.
Thank you so much for that answer. Sir, you mentioned that you work for, your contact center is heavily looking into voice technology to, to increase and optimize your results. So do you think conversational AI will ultimately replace the contact center and the BPOs?
Well, replacement is a long shot that may never happen. What this technology will absolutely do is take away some of those repetitive tasks, tasks that are predictable with a finite number of interactions. Those are the kind of tasks that get automated.
Right.
A human, of course, a bot can never replace a human. Bots can continue to learn and perform more complex tasks, but from a roadmap standpoint, these bots will augment the efficiency of human beings. That's how we have been exponentially using these transformation products in getting our bots learning the course of things. Otherwise, a human would have done it repetitively.
Right.
And at some point of time, more complex works for humans that we have kept it from an implementation standpoint.
Thank you so much. My next question to you is, how is Fusion BPO as a contact center organization adopting the technology solutions to augment service delivery in the demanding world?
Well, on a daily basis with about 14,000 people across the globe, we handle about 18 lakh voice transactions.
Wow.
In terms of hours, we handle about 18 into, at least 3 to 4 minutes per interaction.
Right.
Right? And these interactions are handled in multiple languages. English, Spanish, Polish, Russian are some of the languages which are outside of India that we support, including Arabic. In India, we very well know there are about 58 different languages. We support 18 of them.
Wow.
Right? Today, we have built our voice analytics engines that can support 18 different languages across the globe. And how are we adopting in this changing requirements? There are two aspects to it. One, we have a development engine which continues to work on these problems. We are problem solvers. At the same time, we also leverage the leading market players to understand those best practices, learn from them, and see if those re-engineering can be put across on our products as well.
Mr. Utsav Shah, business head at Shape, APAC and EMEA. So, sir, please tell us more about Shape and its contribution to voice technology.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, thank you for having us here. I think it's a beautiful summit, and it's been great learning, interacting with all the prospects out here, learning about voice technologies and what lies ahead. And coming to Shape, I think we are a fully managed AI data platform company where we provide services ranging from data curation, de-identification, annotation, labeling, transcription, to leading AI companies to help them accelerate their AI journey. And we do that by our unique value proposition of people plus process plus technology, where we have our own managed workforce, we have our own technology we have built ground up, and we believe that quality lies at the forefront of data, because I think at the end of the day, the machine learns and gives out the output as the input which you are fetching them.
Right.
So I think it's a very important thing in terms of any AI development for any of the companies who want to accelerate their AI journey.
Right. So you mentioned data right now. So what is exactly the importance of data in voice technology, and is it crucial or is it just a slight part of it?
Correct. So I think that's a very important question, and I think there's a very good saying, which is GIGO in terms of IT, which is garbage in, garbage out, right? So your AI algorithms are only as good as the data that you fetch them. The data that you are giving to the AI model development is diverse enough, is having the right quality and quantity, and it does not have any biases in place. So I think that's very important that you have the requisite skill set and expertise to come up with those data sets. A lot of times they have to be global in nature, so you have to have a global reach. You need to have an understanding of how the AI comes into being. So I think
being a software company itself, we have a very good understanding of how technology comes into being, and that adds to the value proposition that we have. So I think in coming times you'll see that more importance is given to the how and the why of the data sets, rather than just the volume and the velocity.
And the what.
Yeah.
What do you see the contribution of Shape in the future of voice technology?
So I think Shape is having its niche in conversational AI. So I think we are working with some of the leading service providers, technology providers across globe. Some of the top Fortune 50 companies. And I think the real challenge with AI is that the pace at which it learns, and the type of use cases that we see every day in and day out, from an industry perspective, from a vertical perspective. And I think that's where we are uniquely positioned, that I think since we are learning every day and day out that what are the new use cases that are coming up, what are the challenges that every company is solving in the field of AI, and we are running with them to provide them all the support in terms of the data, the labeling, annotation, transcription services, and creating those gold annotated training data sets. So I think from a futuristic perspective, I think this is, I think it has been mentioned by a lot of reports that voice is going to be the next big thing.
Right.
We see it already being implemented at a lot of companies, at a lot of forums, and I think even all the business leaders have acknowledged the fact that things are going to change as far as voice is concerned, big way, and the adoption is pretty high now. So I think in future, any company that wants to develop AI will need to infuse voice in whatever technologies they are going to develop. And I think with our expertise in computer vision, conversational AI, even healthcare AI, we are going to make sure that we enable them to solve such challenges at a large scale, and thereby benefit the economy.
Thank you so much. And with this, I'd like to ask you the last question, and that would be, how did you like this summit, and what were your 3 key takeaways from it?
Sure. So I think this is the second time we have collaborated with VoiceTech Summit. Our previous collaboration was, I think, before COVID times,
Right.
and it was even nice then. I think it is nicer today as well. I think it has become better with each event passing, and we see a lot of participation from a lot of industry leaders, a lot of experts. We see a lot of meaningful crowd coming to us who are really interested in the offerings. And I think the key learnings for me after listening to a lot of industry leaders is, number one, AI adoption is only going to increase. Number two is that voice has absolutely to be there in the forefront of your business plan for the next 5 years or so. So it has to come at from the first to fifth priority. And I think the third thing is that quality annotated training data sets is going to be the key for any successful AI mission.
Mr. Gokul Gopalakrishnan, Vice President at APAC Unifor. Sir, how are you liking the summit, and what does Unifor bring in the tech summit which others do not?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. I mean, there are a lot of good partners out here, a lot of good tech that I've been looking at as well. I think the biggest differentiator for Unifor has been that we are a platform approach. Conversational AI is just one part of it, and we are in conversations, which pretty much means speech is one part of it. We are into video, and that's where we are evolved into. If you guys have seen my presentation, you would have known how we are evolving our platform,
Right.
which is speech only, chat only, to also video as well. So
Right.
very exciting, great event, spectacular stuff, presentations by your teams, by Yukon Media as well. So very good stuff. Excited to be part of this, and also looking forward to being part of some more as well globally. We're looking forward to that. Very good event. Yep.
Very positive feedback from Mr.
Yep.
Gokul. Sir, we would like to know, in this 2022, do you think we are ready for voice technology? And if not, what are the challenges that we face?
I think this question that you asked is probably a 5-year-old question. Absolutely ready. We have now deployments globally, not just in India. As you said, I run APAC, so we are seeing these deployments across APAC. And then my global counterparts are doing a phenomenal job as well. So speech is here to stay, has been here to stay, and it has been expedited in the last 2 years with COVID and the impact of that, which we have talked about a whole lot, but absolutely there. speech technology is to stay, and there are specific use cases that you got to look at. But having said that, absolutely, absolutely, it's no more a question that you should be asking. Absolutely, absolutely valid. Yep.
Speech is here to stay in Gokul's words. So we'd like to ask you, what do you think is the future of
Yep.
voice technology? Now you're saying that it's
Yep.
no longer a challenge. India is ready and
Yep.
ready to face all challenges for voice tech.
Sure.
But what is the future? 10 years down the line,
Sure.
where do you want to see voice technology do?
Excellent. So today, when you look at conversations, and especially in this event, a lot of them are focused on front office conversations, which is contact center
Right.
and customer experience, right? I think speech, the way we are looking at it, when you look at conversations, it's conversations between a teacher and a student in a classroom.
Right.
It could be a teacher and a student online.
Right.
It could be between a patient and a doctor in a hospital. Conversations are everywhere. It could be multiple site, and I think more than just contact center and customer experience, you got to look at enterprise-wide conversations that you and I are having. How does that evolve? That's where I see speech going into.
Perfect.
Yep.
So, sir, now that you're here, I've seen you yesterday giving your presentation.
Sure.
Today, you're here again for day 2. What are your 3 key takeaways from this summit, and what did you learn from the other brands and companies pitching their ideas?
Sure, I think clearly the use cases that have been discussed, not just by the other partners, but from customers, have given us insights on what we should be doing to grow this and how do we be successful. I think it's all about use cases. It's like saying 100 years ago, cars were seen as a technology, right?
Right.
But today cars is a day-to-day piece of it. It's just that how do you use cars? What do you use them for, right?
Right.
I think speech is like that today,
Right.
where now it's all a question of how are we going to use them moving forward. And I think some very interesting use cases come out, and that's the key takeaway for me is some of the use cases that were discussed both by the customers as well as other partners.
Mr. Vishwanath Jha, founder and CEO at Sarthi AI, enjoying this beautiful tech conference, and I would like to ask you this question. How do you see Sarthi AI changing voice technology in the future?
So I think for us, what we have been doing, I mean, this is like a 6th year as a company, so almost half a decade has already been there. Now what we have been doing is like particularly in the fintech or financial sector, which is already, like everybody's talking about fintech everywhere across the globe. And largely in the lending business, wherever people, companies are coming up. So we are helping them with the biggest problem they have, the collection part. Lending is easy, you can give money to anybody.
Right.
But getting money out of people, earlier there were a lot of human communication, human-led telephone calls used to happen.
Right.
What we have done is like we have automated the entire journey, like from pre-due communication to the till the time it becomes NPA, and even after post that. So I think that's a very significant value proposition for a lot of financial enterprises, fintech companies across the globe, especially with the advent of BNPL, which has completely changed the game. So with BNPL coming in, there's a lot more delinquency expected in the market, and we are giving a cost-effective solution which is really scalable and helping them in reducing the delinquency rates for them, for the companies.
I see. So this is what Sarthi AI does. Sir, I would like to ask you, in today's session, what were your top 3 takeaways, and how much did you enjoy the session? Was it actually informative? Did you find people like-minded as you, and what did you enjoy most?
So I think this is like VoiceTech Summit has been always a very favorite conference of mine. I mean, since the very first edition when Jamal reached out to us. Actually, we were the first one who actually said, Jamal, that okay, yeah, I mean, you go ahead, we are there with you, because we feel the importance of VoiceTech Summit, such ecosystem creation basically. So VTS has played a very significant role in that. I totally see that, and I would like to confess on front of camera actually. And in terms of the events, basically the key takeaways, what I see, a lot of people, different companies, basic representatives, they have all talked about voice tech, largely different aspects of it. Somebody's talking about automating the call flow, somebody talking about the analytics, on top of that, the human communication that is going on. So how people have become more aware about it in the last 2 to 3 years, the journey that has happened. I think that is a very, very good, sight to have, because I've been in this business for almost like 5-6 years now. So, and I had a very tough time educating customers. So with events like this, I think this has been a very good education for the local ecosystem also, and all the other editions that VTS has actually hosted before. I think this has done a phenomenal job, and that's why I would like to congratulate again VTS.
We are indeed privileged and honored to have you here. So would you tell us why did Sarthi choose voice technology?
Okay. So I'll tell you, I mean, we started as a language technology company. And India being a linguistically diverse country, I myself speak 9 languages.
Wow.
So I was easily able to, like roam around in the country, but a lot of people faced a lot of challenges even in communicating with the local people, native people there.
Right.
So I saw there was clear divide in, like understanding the language side of it, and that's where we began. Along the lines, we realized that the market was very competitive. Everybody was getting into conversational AI. The space was getting crowded, and we had to find ourselves a nice like USP or nice selling point basically. So that's where we thought that like the voice is very key and untouched part. It's a difficult problem. Not many people have actually picked it up. That's where basically we started picking it up, and we started pivoting around voice. And it's been a very good pivot, I would say. Last 2 years, we have been heavily working on the voice side of it, the speech to text, the text to speech, voice identification, biometrics, basically, voice conversion. So a lot of things over the last 2-3 years. We have seen in the voice ecosystem, the way things are moving, and the way the COVID also, like impacted a lot of our decisions and in the pivot, because, it actually impacted the enterprise psychology. When they saw the business continuity was at risk, and the daily operations were hampered because the agents were not able to come to the call centers. So that's when they realized, okay, they need some alternative basically to in face of such such more pandemic basically, because nobody knew what to do in the pandemic, right? So that's where we found okay, this is like a very good opportunity. So as you say, like like people generally difficult times gives you more opportunity if you look at it that way. So we kind of were fortunate enough to have that kind of perception, and we pivoted around voice. So maybe that's why I would say we pivoted, because we saw there was enough demand in the market. Customers, the same customer who earlier were saying that okay, there is no ROI in Apple, like the chatbots or the voice bots, they came running after us. Okay, can you please help us with this? So when we saw the complete turnaround, I think that's where our like the decision process basically that got impacted, and we pivoted to voice.
Trio from Eureka Outsourcing Solutions and EDAS, Mr. Jaswinder Singh, Dr. Chunki, and Mr. Sharad. Sir and ma'am, what are your key takeaways from this session, and how did you like this tech conference?
First of all, I would like to thank the event organizers, VoiceTech, for organizing such a beautiful event and bringing in all the good and well-known people from the industry on the one table and one platform. And the takeaway is like, I can say out of the 14 slots were there, 9 were all voice and voice AI. The takeaway will be going back to the table, drawing board, and how we are going to use the technologies for betterment of our end customers. That's the takeaway what I think we have for us.
Firstly, congrats. You've been doing a wonderful job since morning, since yesterday, of course. And of course, the VoiceTech team and Jamal, I met him yesterday. So you guys doing a wonderful job. I kind of second what Jaswinder says. See, my job is people, managing people. Right. So at my level, it's very important to understand how do we balance the use of people, human labor, the carbon labor that we call, and technology. So yes, we're talking about voice bots, we're talking about sentiment analysis and voice bot, but also important to know is how is human being reacting to it, how are we adapting it? Because more importantly, we can only do these experiments and we can implement things for betterment once human beings are ready to adapt. Right. So as a BPM, as a call center, like we call in our day-to-day language, it's important to understand that how do we train our people to better usage of, technology, I think, and also more importantly, in the domestic scheme of things, domestic clients, it is also very important to educate them, to make them understand that yes, there are technology today to do your work, and you do not have to depend only on human resources.
Perfect.
So that's my take. I'm sure Sharad will say more about the clients.
Firstly, a very strong thank you to the organizers, that is the VoiceTech Summit.
It is our
It's,
privilege.
it's been a real wonderful efforts from the team. I can just not fathom or probably not even try kind of imagine the kind of efforts that you would have been putting in untirelessly for the last few months, I'm sure. Coming back to the what are the great takeaways from this complete event. Firstly, the kind of the diversification of the audience as well as the industry experts that you've been able to get on one single platform is one of the remarkable jobs that the VoiceTech Summit has done it. The kind EDAS and EOS, for that matter, have actually been acting as enablers for organizations to accelerate the digital adoption. Voice is the future, undoubtedly. But more importantly, it's a collaboration of human and digital. And therefore, acclimatization with the new normal will be something which everyone needs to work upon. And I'm sure there's a good amount of thought process that's going into how everyone can reskill and ensure that everyone stay relevant in times to come.
Mr. Sanjay Pai, Sales Director at Avaya. Sir, what does Avaya bring to the table which other partners do not?
Hey Faiza, so Avaya brings in all the heritage, all the history. We do all the heavy lifting. We are the leaders in the contact center space, also unified communication. So with all our partners who are complementing what Avaya already does, we bring the difference in doing like I said, all the contact center technology.
Wow, that is beautiful. I know that Avaya has been in the business for 90 years. So I want to know what is the transition that you have seen and how is conversational AI and voice technology changing game in Avaya itself?
So considering our heritage of 90 years, that's because of Bell Labs, which invented the telephone, and from there we've obviously seen a lot of ups and downs technology-wise, but the phone's still phone, the voice is still voice. Now we have a lot of other channels which are talking to voice, without voice, but augmentation of voice is always there. So basics, like I said, we still bring all the foundation. The rest of it still adds on. Because considering all that, I would say we are different, but we are still the same.
Wow, beautifully answered. What do you think it will be the future of voice technology? Do you think we have reached the threshold or is there more?
It's always evolving. I was listening to one of the customers speaking here, and she articulately put it in a way that voice is going to be there, technology is going to be there. Human will never be replaced by a machine. That will never happen. Yes, you need to bring in the emotional quotient, but the agents will still be there. Technology will always evolve. It will all be the same. So it's not going to change much. It's business as usual.
Business as usual. So now my last question to you would be, how are you liking this conference? Are you as excited as all of us?
Definitely, definitely. Faiza, to be, I mean, after COVID, I would say this is the second event that we are attending as Avaya.
Right.
A lot of good people, a lot of good customers and prospects. So for us, intention was to get the brand awareness, let everybody know, hey, we are there, we're always there, been there with you, and I think we'll continue that. So.
Perfect.
And that's a great forum. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Honor to have you with us.
Thank you.
And we will see you in the next edition
Definitely.
of the Tech Summit.
Definitely. See you there.